All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And today's update is going to be kind of interesting. We're going to look at some information that I've pulled over the weekend. We're going to talk about the end of The Flash. And I'm also going to talk about something I take very seriously with a crazy accusation that somebody made on Twitter. And I'm going to share this tweet with you guys, and I'm going to show you what I asked this person to do. And we're going to follow this. It looks like I may end up having to get a lawyer at some point simply because I have a YouTube channel. And it's pretty crazy, the accusations that people will make out there. We're going to have a very serious conversation about this tweet and something. And in fact, I'm going to do that before I talked about the Flash stuff so that when I get to the Flash stuff, you guys can take off, you can leave if you don't want to be spoiled by the movie. But I do want to talk about how James Gunn is very much lying again, and he continues to lie on a regular basis. And we're going to look at something, and again, I'm seeing the final movie on Thursday, and we'll have a new review for that film. And that weekend, I will do a spoiler review as well and reveal all the juicy stuff that I have not revealed thus far, because Warner Brothers specifically asked us not to ruin the movie. Everything, and just a reminder, everything I have talked about up until this point has stuff that has already been released by stuff like Variety, Deadline, other places. I'm not the one that brought it up. I was just reporting on it after it had been reported on somewhere else. So we're going to look at something here. Let's look at some of these photos. So this is something I wanted to post in the last video, but just did not get around to doing it. And it's the fact that Joel Edgerton and Josh Hartnett are reportedly being considered for the role of Harvey Dent in the Batman Part 2. Personally, I think both of these guys are really good actors. I think they both could pull it off quite well. It depends, with the cast being the age it is, I would see that Josh Hartnett would probably be more in line with the age group. But both of these guys would be, I think, fantastic, and I would be happy to see both of them enter the Batman universe in some capacity. Now, this came across this weekend, and I knew that this had existed, but I didn't know they were actually screening it, and this tells us a couple of things. It says, Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever 170-minute cut exists, and apparently Kevin Smith has seen it. And this blew up all over the internet all weekend. And I was actually out camping with my family this weekend and couldn't do a video, but there were so many tweets on this. Now, while I am not a fan of Batman Forever or the fourth Batman film, can't even remember the name of it off the top of my head, the one with George Clooney, I did like the introduction of Robin into this movie, although he got he should have had. Well, he got the Robin suit in this, and then they changed over to the Nightwing suit in the second movie, which I didn't think should have happened. But it was nice to see them introduce Robin. And there were there's some redeeming things about these movies. It's way too much humor and goofy for my taste, but it would be interesting to see this 170-minute version because people have talked about how much more serious it is. And it's great that they're getting this prepped. I mean, there's a reason if he's seen it, they're not getting this stuff ready for no reason. There's a writer strike, and this is something I haven't updated on. There's the writer strike going on right now, and all of the actors have also, like I said, on June 1st, there was going to be, the actors joining in, and that is happening. The actors have decided to vote to strike along with the writers. And they're assuming, or they're speculating that this strike could last 6 months or longer, which is going to put everything back. It's going to create all kinds of problems. And this would be a great time to release something like this in David Ayer, Suicide Squad. Those cuts now exist for a reason. The studio is going to financially do something with these films at some point. Now, we don't know if they'll get released on HBO Max, or if they will get released, on home video, whatever it might be. But I do believe one day we will see this, and we will see David Ayer Suicide Squad, and I look forward to both of those days. Several people actually had tweeted or sent me messages on this, and I thought this was kind of interesting, and there's a pattern here. It says, Michael Shannon says playing Zod in The Flash wasn't quite satisfying for me as an actor. And I told you in a previous review, he dialed it in. He was not the same Zod as he was in Man of Steel. He said, these multiverse movies are like somebody playing with action figures. It's not quite the in-depth character study situation I felt Man of Steel was. This was him talking to Collider. And this here is pretty crazy because he's saying that obviously he's playing a different version of Zod, and it was not the same. What was happening in the film was the same, but it wasn't the same version of Zod, and he just dialed it in. You could tell that the third act in this movie was kind of thrown together, and his heart wasn't in it like it was with Man of Steel. And if you remember, he did go and he actually asked Zack Snyder if it would be okay if he came and did this, and Zack Snyder gave his blessing to do it. And you can see that he was just going through the motions, as pretty much everybody in the movie was going through the motions. The third act, for me, was the worst act of the film. It felt like it was thrown together and shoehorned in and should have had more depth to it, and it just simply did not. And there is a pattern with this. People will say there's a pattern of people loving and wanting to work with James Gunn. Well, you have more people standing behind Zack Snyder as well. I mean, I'm beginning to think that it was probably Henry Cavill's choice to leave the role of Superman and not continue to play him because of where this universe was going. I'm not sure if James Gunn actually let him go and just didn't hire him back. But you got Ben Affleck, who also said he wouldn't do anything for the new DCU. These guys are distancing themselves from the whole situation. And now you have Michael Shannon doing the same thing. He's trying to distance himself from this and kind of shield himself from any of the backlash that may come from this movie. And it's kind of interesting. You can definitely see there are two camps, and Warner Brothers has done their best to divide these camps, and they continue to do it. So the last photo I have for you here before I talk about this Twitter incident is it says Sasha Calle wants to continue playing Supergirl in the new DCU via Entertainment Weekly. I think that The Flash is really a runaway to a bigger story for her. Well, of course she does. Of course she wants to stay in this role, but you know who else wanted to stay in the role of Superman? Henry Cavill. We don't always get what we want, and I would personally love to see her back. I think it would be awesome to see her and Henry Cavill on screen together as Superman and Supergirl. They definitely take the designs and the costume from Man of Steel, and I would think it would be really cool to see them together. That would be freaking amazing. I don't know if that's going to happen. With everything that James Gunn is doing, I don't think there's going to be a place for her there, but we'll see in the future. All right, so let's take a look at this Twitter post. Now, first of all, what I don't like about this is that this person did this under my voiceover Twitter account, not on my review channel account, which is crazy. And they're making some accusations here, and this is pretty disgusting. And it says, I worked in journalism for more than 25 years, and I'm going to say something that I firmly believe is based on observation. Entities such as John Campea, Comic Book Cast, Variety, Vanity Fair, Deadline, At Aaron's Any Voices, and IndieWire would have preferred it if Ezra Miller hadn't survived last year. They'd have months of more whatever to spill. Okay, this to me is absolutely disgusting. And I said, what is this nonsense? Seriously, what is wrong with you? You better delete the tweet and accusations or there could be legal actions taken. And I do think I may be getting a lawyer here pretty soon to deal with stuff like this because, first of all, to put me in a group like John Campea, Variety, Vanity Fair, Deadline, first of all, I'm not a journalist. And I'm going to flip over back to the camera. We're going to talk about accusations such as this. First of all, I'm not a quote journalist. I'm not quote a scooper. I just gather information and I bring it here. My channel is strictly for entertainment. And that's what my channel is listed as. That's what YouTube, all of my videos are under that category of entertainment. I don't have some inside line like some of those those publications do have, and I wish I did. But one thing I am very careful not to do on my channel, and I will never do, and I've had people ask me to do this, but I won't. I haven't gone after Truth 31. I haven't gone after Ezra Miller. I haven't gone after James Gunn. I don't attack people personally, and I won't. It's not my job as a human being to judge other people. That's for God to judge. That's for the courts to judge. It's not my business. I will critique the movies and TV shows that they do, and I make no bones about that. But I'm never going to go after anybody personally. And trust me, I've had a lot of people send me links and ask me to go after these individuals. And I won't do it. And there was one video I saw where Truth 31 actually said he wished death upon me and other people who still like the Snyderverse. He said he wished the purge could happen. And then he goes on to say it was a joke, like something out of South Park. Now, these are the things I think I may have to get a lawyer to fight against, because those are, first of all, that was a direct threat. And so were what this woman posted in her Twitter account. There's no basis of fact to it. And she's trying to tarnish my name. And she did it on my voiceover account, not here on my review account. It's something that I take very seriously. I don't think it's right to bully people. I don't think it's right to attack them personally. We are not the ones to be the judge of those actions. And in fact, you'll see that I don't like the posts where people talk about some of the accusations that are going against these people. Again, I'm here as a review channel. I'm here to critique the entertainment that I see, that I watch, but I'm not going to go after people personally. Now, will I report on something after it's hit the courts? Yeah, I would report on something, but I'm never going to inject my personal feelings into it, because it's not my job to judge. It's just simply not. My job is to talk about movies, TV shows, video games, Legos, toys, comics, that sort of a thing. It's not to attack people. And I'm not going to. And I think anybody that does this on social media, number one, it's childish. You're just being a keyboard warrior. That's all it is. And it's not right to go after people. It's just simply not right. And I'm never going to take part in that. I just won't. So don't ask me to do it. It's falling on deaf ears if you guys continue to send me emails and messages telling me to cover the accusations against James Gunn or Ezra Miller or these other people. You cannot go back, and you'll never find a single video where I have accused either one of these people of anything in their personal lives. The only comment, even close to that I've made, is that if people go do their own research on James Gunn, they might come to their own conclusions about some of the accusations that have been made against him. But it's not my job to do that. I'm not going to, so don't ask. And for people who make those accusations on social media, you better think twice about doing it, because you could have legal action taken against you. All right, so let's talk about James Gunn and the fact that he has probably lied again. And we're going to talk about the end of The Flash here. And I'm not going to post the picture. A lot of people posted the picture over the weekend, but you have been forewarned. If you don't want to know anything about The Flash, leave now. And I haven't seen the final cut of the film, which I will see on Thursday, but now's your chance to bow out, go do something else. All right, so the rumor here is, and there are pictures of this, I actually saw them, that the Batman that I didn't get to see in the cut at, 3 weeks ago with the whole fan showing was the actual Batman that they were going to be using going forward. And they said that person being revealed probably would be the Batman going forward. Now, before I mention what I'm going to mention, it is important to note that I will tell you that James Gunn himself has vehemently denied this, said this was not going to happen, and that he's made direct comments in regards to this, that this was not true. And that Pattinson is going to be the Batman in the DCEU, or the DCU. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what happened. First of all, originally, they shot this scene with Michael Keaton. This is what was going to happen before James Gunn took over the DCU. It was supposed to be Michael Keaton, and that Michael Keaton and Sasha Calle had made it through the changes, and they were going to be the Superman and the Batman of this universe, which was pretty much confirmed with the fact that he was going to be in the Batgirl movie, okay? But things have changed, and now they've got somebody else. And this was supposedly on James Gunn's recommendation when he took over the DCU that they were going to have George Clooney back as Batman. And sure enough, that's the person who gets out of the car and talks to Barry, and supposedly he does confirm as a current member of the Justice League. And James Gunn did say that the Justice League will have already been around by the time Superman, legacy starts, and that these characters will have already been established. So he adamantly denied that George Clooney was going to be the Batman going forward. And what's funny is he is looking at a very young individual to play Superman. And this is where I bow out of this universe. One of the things I wish to see in my lifetime, and I don't know if I'm ever going to see this, is a Batman-Superman team-up film. And I'm not talking about Batman versus Superman. They were not teamed up in that movie. And they were teamed up at the very end with Wonder Woman, but that was only a short portion of the film. I want a full-on World's Finest movie with a middle-aged, young to middle-aged Superman and Batman. I don't know if I'm ever going to see that. I think James Gunn is toying with. I do think if he goes this route that this universe is DOA. I don't see people buying into this. And everyone complained that Ben Affleck was too old to play Batman, and that's why James Gunn was rebooting everything to get younger people. And to bring Clooney back to play Batman, I think would be just asinine. And there are people that are saying, yes, he is going to be the Batman going forward. Now, we don't know that for sure. This is all speculation at this point. But the photo that got released did have him in the same suit that Michael Keaton was seen at in some behind-the-scenes photos earlier last year. And so they've gone through several different versions of the end of this movie, and it looks like they're going to put George Clooney in there instead. I'm not happy about this news, but, I'm not happy about anything that I'm hearing that James Gunn is doing so far. So this is par for the course. It's to be expected. But we're going to see what happens coming up. I will be continuing to cover the news going forward. But I do appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up.